You're listening to the Irish Photography Podcast. We're on episode 89 where we are doing a dive show special.
I don't know who you are, but welcome to the Irish Photography Podcast. Sit back, relax, and listen about cameras, gear, settings, stories, and all things photography. Join Diarmuid and Darren on Ireland's Best Photography Podcast. Let's go.
And you're very welcome to episode 89 of the Irish Photography Podcast. I'm joined, as always, my right-hand man, my man of the moment, the guy who's been with me all the time, Darren J. Spooney down in Cork. How you, pal? How you, boy?
That was some intro. I'm good.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff. That's what I like to hear,
Did you take a few Duracell batteries there or something before you came on this? Oh, hang on. Monster energy. There you go.
There you go.
Look at him.
Yeah.
I better sit up straight for this one, man. You're already excited, I think, yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. This is like, we are in my zone. Now we're on the dive show, man. It's like, this is where, like, landscape is your thing. That's your baby. Don't get me wrong. I kind of venture into that neck of the woods also. But when we get to water, this is my kettle of fish. Excuse the pun. So I love scuba diving. I love kayaking. I love anything to do with seaside and just water. And so, yeah, today's episode is all about the dive show that's going to be happening in the Radisson Blu Hotel on the 7th and 8th of March in Limerick. So I'm really excited for that. But look, we're going to come back to that in a minute. Darren, how was your week, man? Any news for me?
No news, no. How about you?
My dive housing, my housing is going to be delayed by 10 days.
Oh, no.
So I'm a bit...
How are you getting on with that? Do you need some counselling? Are you traumatised? Delayed gas.
I am actually. They mailed me on Instagram because we've been kind of going back and forth,
Oh, no way.
And they said, you're after ordering 2 vacuum leak detectors, a manual one and an electronic one. And so, fair enough, fair play to them. They're going to refund me for €150.
No, that's nice.
But so it's grand. But I said, look, don't refund me the money. Just send me extra gear or whatever. But I don't want money back. Just send me good stuff.
Just make it as shiny as possible. I love it.
There you go. Make it shiny. But the part that the vacuum leak detector thing, whatever, it's not in stock, so they have to wait 10 days for it. And it's like. And it's like, but we have this other part that can go in. And it's like, okay, how long are you going to be waiting? 10 days. And I was like, I was going to say, look, just send it to me now with the other thing. And I was like, no, don't. Just wait for the good one. Get it done and get it done right. Get it done properly. So, yeah, I need a bit of counselling, Darren. It's on the way, though. It's coming. I can't wait to get it.
Oh, I'd say your heart must have missed a beat when you got the message. Oh, it's on the way. It's confirmation. What? No, what? I'm not reading this right. No way. What? 10 days? No.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Traumatized.
I know, right? Because I'm actually, the podcast is going out on Friday, and that's the day it's supposed to arrive here in Ireland. No.
No. Interesting. Okay, so look, we'll move on from that. We'll go to what you are happy about.
We will.
So when you do get your next round of gas delivered, it's going to be about diving, and we're going to talk about, as you say, the dive show. And from my point of view, of course, from a photography, I'm above the water, you're below the water and above the water, but I do have an interest in diving, as we've just spoken about before, but I've never gone back in the water ever since I qualified for my PADI. But the dive show now, I think, could be something that maybe it reignites something in me to want to look back under the water again, but with the camera this time. Who knows? Because you mentioned about the dive show as well in the past. It's not just about under the water. I mean, it's about nature. It's about, ecological issues. And that's something I think which everybody can learn from. So as you said, you're not even into diving, but you're into the earth and Mother Earth and the oceans and learning more about that. I'd say it could be cool to even go and look at and listen to the speakers.
Well, absolutely. Like some of the speakers that are going to be on show at this thing, it's insane. We have a big long list, and and if you do come diving again, I have another housing there and a camera, so you don't have to splash out and get gassy. You can just borrow my stuff.
Oh yeah.
Or you could buy them off me.
Oh yeah. I know what you're up to. Yeah. Come on, Darren. Yeah, look, we'll go for one dive. Look, you got the gear here. Look what you're able to do. Imagine if you had that of your own. It's actually up in adverts at the moment. Would you be interested in buying it?
I'll give you a good discount. I'll get you a great deal.
It's okay. I do recognise the signs of gas. That's why I avoid them. You know what I mean? But you would fall for that one, hook, line and sinker.
Oh, yeah. True story. Well, look, we're not going to beat around the bush. We had Mike Ort in. He called into my house during the week, and I sat down with Mike and we had a chat about the dive show. And what we're going to do now, guys, we're going to jump right over to the interview that I had with Mike and discuss about what's coming up with the dive show from the head honcho himself, Mike Ort from Maryland. And you're very welcome to the Irish Photography Podcast, where we are having a dive show special. And joined with us today in Limerick HQ is Mike Ort. Yay!
Who, me?
Yes, you, Mike. How are you doing, buddy?
Not too bad, Diarmuid. Thanks very much. Some setup you have here, I must say.
Oh, yeah. It's like my man cave, man. Do you know what happens? I come home, I cook the dinner, and then I come in here and I don't see my family. I kind of lock the door so they can't get in.
This is a proper man cave, yeah.
Isn't that the job?
Oh, man, I wish I had this setup. This is phenomenal.
Yeah. And then you don't have to deal with children or nothing. That's great.
No comment.
Anyway, we digress. So, why are you here?
Why am I here?
Yeah.
Well, I'm your buddy.
Yeah, one of my best dive buddies.
Oh, yeah. I don't see you that often anymore.
Yeah, no, I've been working hard, so, behind the scenes.
So I stopped by today to maybe talk a little bit about the dive show.
Good. I'm delighted to have you in here. So, the dive show, where is it on?
The Radisson Blue in Limerick.
Blue. Right,
yeah.
okay.
March 7th and 8th.
Excellent stuff.
Yeah. All day long. We have the whole hotel booked for the weekend.
So is it just about diving, or what is there like? Is there something for everyone?
So it is the only dive show in Ireland.
Cool.
And it is about diving and snorkeling, everything under the water, really.
Okay.
So if you're interested in just diving and picking up some new equipment, we have a host of exhibitors. Over 40 exhibitors are going to be at the show, showing their stuff and selling it. Yeah. It's a great place to get a deal on gear. Encourage everybody who's looking at going diving in 2020 or taking up the sport, come along for that. But we also have a lot of other reasons to come to the show, I would say. The environment, if you're interested in the environment, a lot of stuff on nature. And a big part of the show, of course, is photography. Yeah. So tremendous amount of photography going to be supported at the show as well.
Cool. I see, and you talk about nature, and I shared a thing on our Facebook group pages about John Murphy and his birds and all that. I'm really excited to see that because it's something that I want to photograph a bit more, and it people don't realize how hard it is to photograph birds when they're in flight, and this guy is really, really good, man.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of his stuff?
I haven't actually.
Right, check him out, John Murphy. He's actually awesome.
Yeah. I know. He's coming, and I wrote up kind of the information around his talk. So I'm very much interested in him. I think he's a friend of one of our own members in the club, who's a lecturer in UL, John Breen.
Cool.
Who, if you've ever gotten a lecture from John on the underwater world, he's fantastic. And he's a beekeeper as well. So
that's right.
Like, it's all in the kind of same vein. So yeah, I saw some of the stuff coming along.
Yeah,
for John Murphy, it sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it is, and it's funny you mentioned about the beekeeper, right? He gave me a jar of honey, and I was there going, "Here you go, dear mate, it's a jar of honey." I was there going, "I don't even like honey, but it'd be rude to say no."
You're in a small group of people. Yeah. They get a jar of honey every year.
Oh my!
Yeah,
wow!
So
I brought it home anyway, right? And
be thankful.
Taylor loved it. Now she will not eat any more honey unless it comes from John.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she hasn't touched honey since we've ran out of it. So
one of his jars lasts me a year usually, but
this lasted a month.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, we need a replenishment of bee. Anyway, getting back to the dive show. Is there just one room, or is there going to be multiple rooms where people are going to be talking?
No, you know what? When we were going to go and host the dive show, we looked at all the hotels in Limerick to kind of figure out the best price. But the biggest thing for us was the size. And we were able to achieve biggest amount of square footage by booking the Radisson. So we are taking advantage of every single room in the hotel. We have the entire hotel
the whole place
booked out. There's nothing else on while we're there. God help anybody who's booked into the hotel that weekend for anything else.
They'll be walking out the door in masks and snorkels. They might try a new sport for themselves.
I actually can't imagine. But no, we have the entire space where you would normally book it for a wedding. Yeah. That's just traders. And that spills off into the lobby as well. We have the space in the lobby we're going to use for the photography exhibition we might talk about.
Yeah.
And then we have every single room. There's a schedule up on the diveireland.ie website that shows the times that everybody is speaking. So there's a good balance in the schedule as well, where, sometimes at a dive show, you have 2 speakers on in 2 rooms at the same time. Mm-hmm. And it's like, which one do I go see? Yeah. And I have to miss the other one. So this year, I think Martin Kiley, who looked after kind of the scheduling, he's done a superb job of not really trying to overlap different topics. So there might be technical diving going on in one room. There might be photography in another. So there may be some overlap, but sometimes maybe the things you're focusing on, like if you just are into the photography, you could spend the day in one room going down each different speaker on photography. So that's good.
One speaker that I'm really excited to go see is Nigel Moyter. And there's a mutual friend of ours that put me in contact with Nigel, Jean Reddington, lovely girl. She works in AIB. And she said, check out Nigel, he's amazing. And I was there going, all right, it's just probably some guy with a camera or whatever. But I checked him out. I was like, holy sweet mackerel. This guy's in water with crocodiles and in the middle of, was it Peru or something? I don't know, somewhere crazy.
Yeah, he's always somewhere.
I was like, dude, this guy's good. I mean, really good. So he's I can't phenomenal. Wait to see what this guy's going to talk about.
Yeah. Have you had a dive with Nigel yet?
No, I'd never met him. I just... I exchanged a few words online, but that's about it. So I'm excited to get to actually meet him. So
one thing I always say about the diving community in Ireland, it's not so much about diving dive sites. It's diving with people.
You're right.
Because the dive sites are always going to be there. George's Head is not going anywhere.
True.
Right. But you might miss a chance to dive with a really excellent diver because of some various reason. They give up the sport, or at some point health gets in the way. So I've been lucky enough to dive with Nigel. I don't think too many times, but I remember that dive, if you know what I mean.
I'm definitely going to see if I can barter my way into a dive with him. Maybe we could do the 3 of us go on a dive sometime. It'd be great. So I'm really excited to see Nigel. And there is a talk about shipwrecks now as well. I know someone's doing a talk on the Lusitania. That's that wreck up in Donegal, is it?
Yes, Peter McCamley now, and as part of Project 17. Now, I wouldn't do it justice to explain the amount of information. He has an entire website dedicated to this.
That's insane.
The technical diving community in Ireland is, it's a small group.
But it's strong.
It's a strong, small group. And I try and explain that to people sometimes, that some of these people that are coming to the show to speak and things like that, these are unique individuals in this small community that we just call friends or buddies.
Yeah, sure, look at Barry McGill, like the stuff that guy is producing. And he's just like, it doesn't get to his head or anything like that. He's just a normal, nice, really nice dude, and is very willing to give his time to talk to me and just to level with me, because I have no idea what it's like at these depths. The deepest I've ever dove was 35 meters, if even.
Yeah, they're doing way more crazy things than what you and I are doing. Not crazy so much as they're practicing, they're training, and they have a regimented routine as to how they actually achieve this, and then they take amazing camera equipment down as well and take these shots that nobody else is ever going to get.
Yeah,
right. It's pretty amazing to see what some of them are doing.
Sure, even the lights. I put up a post in the CFT group, and I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes as well, about lights. And like you and I was using, I think it's 1200 lumen lights. I think you've one that's 5,000. This dude is using 33,000 lumen lights.
I know, yeah.
God knows. I don't even want to know how much one of them costs.
Yeah, that's why you put up the post, and my first comment was subscribed.
Yeah.
Because I knew the post would attract some of the leading experts who are at the cutting edge and know which lights. And some of those people responded there years ago to me and told me, everything I need to know about the lights that I bought. Yes. But that was 4 or 5 years ago.
Technology has advanced so fast.
Exactly.
Now that things have changed. Or even your light that you have, you're like, this is the light I have, it's very, very good. But they don't make it anymore.
Yeah.
And there's a new model now where they've amalgamated 3 different lights to make one super torch. I think it's called the Audacious.
Could be now. It's Anchor Dive Light anyway.
Anchor, yeah,
and they have a
Anchor
bunch
Dive
of different
Light, yes,
models, and
yes.
one of the particular one.
Yeah, 159.
Yeah, so I'll be going up to Dive and Deck, who's going to be bringing some Anchor Dive lights to the show, and I'm going to take a look and have a chat with him.
Yeah.
Maybe have a cup of tea, and we'll see. He'll see what he's got. So
cup of tea always.
he's definitely worth a visit if you're looking down that line. It's a tremendous amount of information. There'll be probably other vendors there selling lights as well. But I bought my laughs one off him, so I might do the same again this year as well.
Brilliant. Now, coming back to the CFT competition, we have Damien McGurk and Ken O'Sullivan judging it this year. Ken O'Sullivan is almost world renowned now at this stage, especially for his documentary that he did on the Wild Atlantic Way with the whales. And Damien McGurk, an absolute legend and a gent of a human being, such a nice guy and a wealth of photography
Who's
knowledge.
Damien?
Oh, I'm not
Do
going
you mean Mero TT?
I thought that was supposed to be hush hush. I don't know.
I don't know either. Too bad.
But it's out there now. But those two dudes are judging it, and they're very well respected in our community. You have pictures in the competition as well. How do you think you're going to fare out?
Oh no,
You're the champion, aren't you?
shots fired.
You're the champion, no?
From last year?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. It was a small field.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. You did very, very well, and you had a very strong portfolio panel last year, and I do expect more of the same this year from you.
Well, I changed cameras, right? I was on the compact. I was on the RX 100. I sweated it until I couldn't do no more with
let
it.
it dry.
I felt, although others, more experienced photographers told me, stick with the thing, But I took the leap and I switched to the mirrorless. I went to the Sony similar,
Yes.
similar menu system. You helped me with that decision as well.
Yes.
You pushed me not to get the Sony A7. You said go for the 2 at the time.
Yes, correct.
And I'm happy that I did that. I think last year was kind of maybe a challenging year for me, trying to learn that gear. I kind of feel like I know it now because it's totally different taking pictures on land with a camera and then sticking into housing and the buttons move to different places. And then you have all the challenges of diving and all that. So all that throws in there, and you're also trying to do, task loading. You're doing different tasks. So like you will sometimes see me this year practicing in my garden with the full housing.
There you go.
Walking around taking pictures of flowers and things like that.
Excellent.
It looks insane. And of course, in a housing, it's incredibly heavy, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't have the water to kind of help float the housing.
Yeah.
But I've done that many a times in my garden.
Good for you.
I don't put those pictures up. But I don't know any other way to get, more time.
Telling you, but you're dead right. Practice makes perfect, and they say 10,000 hours will make you a genius. I don't know if it's a genius, but a professional, I'm guessing. So yeah, just keep practicing. You'll get there. You'll get there. But you know the two lads, and can you tell me more about them and what they do?
Damien and who?
Ken.
Ken, sorry.
Yeah.
Ken is doing the judging. Yeah. I can't say too much. Ken has done a lot of, great work himself.
Conservation.
He's an accomplished
and all that.
photographer.
Yeah.
Like he should be submitting stuff as well.
He should
and
actually,
videos,
shouldn't
right?
Yeah.
But luckily he's not for us competitors. So it's always good to see someone like that as a judge. Damien is the same, right? He does some amazing photography in his own right, and he also does on one breath photography himself.
Yeah, I tried it.
And Richard Thorne do that with snorkeling.
That's right.
And not everybody appreciates that when they're looking at a picture that those guys put up, that not only are they doing it underwater, but they're doing it at whatever amount of air they happen to have in their lungs.
Yeah.
And they dive down and they grab a foothold or a handhold, and then they one arm a shot.
Yeah.
And it's just unbelievable.
I tried it in Lanzarote and Polycoles, and my biggest problem was, like I said, trying to get a foothold, trying to grab onto something to balance myself and get a stable shot. I enjoyed the challenge, and I might even try it again a bit more this summer, but it's so hard. It's ridiculously hard.
I've never tried it, I have to admit.
Okay, we'll do it this summer in the Polycoles.
Will we?
We will. Because it's shallow there, so it'll be some bit more practice, we'll get there. Now, let's move on to something different. Maya Stankovsky. Sorry.
Oh, wow, I think you butchered that.
I definitely butchered that. Sorry, Maya.
Just stick with Maya for
Maya,
now. Everybody
sorry
knows
about that.
Maya anyway.
Maya, she is, never met the girl. but she's a very good photographer. I saw one of her pictures that won last year in Iceland or Norway or something like that, where it's literally crystal clear water. And I just, at first I'd looked at the image as I going, the diver's photoshopped into the image. As I going, well, how did that? And then I was looking closer, I was like, oh my God, that is actually real. It's that clear. It's just unbelievable. Have you met Maya before?
Yeah, I've known Maya a few years. I got to dive with her last year. I have a really fantastic shot with Maya in the pollock holes. Kind of a selfie shot with her snorkeling and me diving, and it really came out well. Delighted with that. But what I know about Maya is she has an unbelievable eye for finding nudibranch and critters, right?
No wonder you hang out with her.
Oh man, that's why I dove with her. I arranged it so that when her club was visiting us in Kilkee, that I would be on hand and available.
Yes.
And I got lucky to be kind of paired up with her to go on a dive.
Excellent.
And she started showing me stuff that I was swimming past.
Yes.
That I didn't realize had anything on it.
So that like the kelp and all that stuff that you've shown me, like
dead man's fingers, for example.
What's a dead man's finger?
That's the big orange things.
Oh, yes.
That stick out. You never look at them, right?
No.
Yeah. And there's stuff on there that you can look for.
Really?
Yes. And sit down with Maya. She's actually created a PDF book, right?
Yes.
Which she will willingly share out as well if you're nice to her. And
I'm always
in
nice
that,
to everyone.
she has a beautiful image of the creature and some detail about it and where to find it. And,
excellent.
But like a half an hour spent with her before you go on a dive, you will find more than you would without doing that.
Unreal. Let's move on to Ivan O'Donoghue. And Ivan is such a nice guy. I've met Ivan a few times, and he is the admin. He's the guy who runs the CFT photography Facebook group. And only like 2 or 3 days ago, I've offered my help to help him out, to help him kind of reboost the page, give it a bit more lease of life, and he's doing a great job as it was, but he was doing it on his own more or less. So I said, look, let me help you out there.
And Brian Stone as well.
And Brian. But he's more or less, he's run this competition for the last few years for everyone. And first of all, for me, I'd like to say thank you, because it's a thankless job. He puts in so much hard work behind the scenes, and he does a really, really good job.
Yeah, I think a lot of us in the small photography underwater community are terrified if he was ever to give it up. Because it's a tremendous amount of organization and work that he is basically doing 365 days a year.
Yeah.
He's already working on next year. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much, Ivan. Really, really do appreciate what you do for our community. Let's move on to Jim Warney. Who's Jim Warney?
Jim, right? So Jim is a cave diver. Probably the most famous thing about him is he was involved in that that cave rescue.
The one in, was it Thailand or somewhere like that?
Yeah, exactly. So everybody knows about that story. He is coming to the show again to give a nice talk, and I won't say what it's about.
Don't. Yeah.
But I know that last year I didn't get into the room, and to be honest, even if I had kind of targeted getting there in time, it was packed out. It was overflowing. Yeah. I think he actually doubled up and did 2 sessions last year because they knew that he was going to overfill the room. Yeah. I was down in the photography room the whole time, so I stayed down there. So he was in the big room last year at the show. This year, I'm going to see if I can make sure that, even though I'm helping with running of the show, that I might be able to sit in on that session.
We'll get you some time off. We'll put in for a holiday leave.
But if not, like he's he is another one of these people that is legendary in the, not just the Irish community, but kind of maybe the global community. He'd be well known. So yeah, fantastic to get to have him come to the show.
Is Barry doing a talk? Barry McGill?
Yeah, Barry's doing another talk again. He's always excellent, a mix of the technical wreck diving with the underwater photography. Again, another person whose room will be filled up. He's really nice to listen to. He's just a really nice person as well. He
was the first talker last year in Nina when the dive show was on, and the room was packed. Yeah, and we just sat down, and he's just someone that you can just, he's very soft spoken, but then he's a Donegal accent, and I love the Donegal accent, especially when it's a girl, you know. But don't worry about it, you don't sound like a girl. But he's very nice to listen to, and his stories are amazing, especially when he's talking about the Lusitania and doing all those deep sea wreck dives, and when he's showing the pictures and they're portraying up in these big projector, it's mind-boggling. Like the fact that himself and Stewie Andrews be going down to 100 meter. Stewie Andrews went to 168 meters.
There you go.
You know, it's just, that's insane. That's what? I'm not very good at maths. You multiply 30 or divide 30 into 168. It's a lot.
Don't even go near it, mate. Don't go near it. The first time I took you diving, you brought
go
the
away.
brand new camera. Do you remember that dive?
Yes,
I'll
I do.
never
It's
forget.
the
That's
worst
another one
dive
bird in my memory.
ever.
And it was the decision about this lad now, he really can take pictures and he's so keen to learn diving. How can I say no to him? How can I tell him not to bring the housing? Thank God you didn't crack it off a rock.
Oh, stop. That was a rough dive, though.
It wasn't easy.
Yeah, no.
It wasn't pretty either.
No.
There was nothing to film either.
No. I was just there. I was so disappointed with myself, and I didn't sulk, but I was just annoyed at myself that I should have just left the camera there. But I was a bit wet behind the ears, you know.
Yeah, but all of us are like that some days. You just hope that it doesn't matter about the conditions, that you'll be able to go and take a photograph. And sometimes
But you know what?
you're just too keen.
I learned more about that dive than probably any other dive.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
Right. I question whether or not I should have let it go ahead.
Well, we'll move on swiftly.
Please.
So there is an exhibition. Yes?
Yes.
What's the exhibition about?
So Brian Stone started this off a good few years ago. Is it maybe the 6th or 7th time this has happened?
Okay.
And it is not a competition. This is asking all the diving community who take photographs, no matter what level they're at, to come along and give us an image, and it will be printed and framed, and it will be on display at the show. And then when the show is over, it's packed up and it's a kind of a mobile exhibition, and it travels around the country. So people are asked to kind of suggest places in their local community where these pictures could go up, like libraries or community centers or really anywhere. It could be in a business as well, in a lobby or something. Yeah. It doesn't take a huge amount of space or anything, but it really showcases Irish nature and above and below and near the sea, and obviously photography. And it's really, really nice. Derek Bolton this year has taken over because Brian has a dodgy hip or something, and he's kind of taken up the mantle to help Brian out and do all the hard work and lifting. So I'm really looking forward to this. There was a time when you didn't have this exhibition at all, and now it's like you really miss it if it's not there. I love it because the photographs will travel for a year. So I submitted a few. And I won't see those pictures again for a year. So the next time you go to a dive show, you are giving your new images for that year, and you're collecting your old ones, which are cool. It's like a present arriving in the post, a year later. I love it. I love the feeling of getting. It brings back memories of. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's cool. And there's some raffles then on the dive show. There's one I have my eye on as a dry suit, because I'd love one. A new one.
Yeah. So I have to be very careful here because there's a lot of raffles. Okay. So the first raffle is we'll talk about is the 03 raffle. They're offering up a dry suit. So those tickets are on sale. It's €10 a ticket.
€10. Okay. And you can buy 100 of them.
So it's a very good prize. The 03 dry suit is very good quality. I can't remember the exact amount, but it's over €1,000 anyway for the dry suit. So it's well worth a ticket, and you can get those either before the show or at the show.
Okay. You can't get them after, no?
Funny. Then there is the clubs themselves, both Atlantic and Limerick. Atlantic Dive Club and Limerick Sabacco Club are putting together a bunch of prizes. Frank and Teresa are actually working on that. Mostly Teresa now. Frank with a bit of help putting together that raffle, and they'll be selling those tickets on Saturday and Sunday. So the first raffle will be over Saturday night. It's going to be drawn on Saturday night for the 03 dry suit. The club's raffle will run till Sunday evening, so you can pick up a ticket for that all weekend.
I actually have one of my prints in the raffle for someone to win.
I heard that.
It's a picture from my latest trip to the Dolomites in Italy.
And that was the person who will love that. Like that'll be a phenomenal win of a prize. So we appreciate you donating that as well.
No problem.
And then we have Roots Red Sea. So they did this last year in Nina as well. They are offering up a free ticket. So if you pay for a ticket to get into the dive show, you'll be given a Roots Red Sea raffle ticket. And how you activate that ticket is by going and visiting and talking to the Roots Red Sea people at their stand, which is a very nice idea to get to meet all the community. So
what can you win with this?
With this, you can win a dive holiday.
Go away.
Yeah.
To anywhere or just?
No, to Red Sea, to Roots Red Sea.
I've never been.
Place. Yeah.
And you've been to the Red Sea, haven't you?
I've been to the Red Sea, yeah. I haven't been to Roots Red Sea. Now
Okay.
they have a place there. I don't have any details. You're going to catch me out now. You'll have to learn more about that at the dive show by going to their stand.
I will do.
And they'll tell you all about it. And then the last entry raffle that I know about, there could be more. And if there are more, please send me a message via email or Facebook. But
it's going to be raffles everywhere, man. There's loads of stuff to win everywhere.
Well, this is another good raffle that happens every year at the dive show. Shane Gray and Scuba Dive West. So Shane Gray does diving and walking holidays in El Hierro, and he is offering up another free ticket for all you got to do is go to the stand. And last year, Ronnie Hurley drew the winning ticket.
That's right.
For that prize, and it was another dive holiday for El Hierro. So fantastic chance. And all you got to do is come to the show.
That's awesome. I'm really excited about this show now. I really can't wait. And thank you very much for coming on the podcast and giving me a better insight to what's actually going to happen and what's going to go on. So one question I'm going to put to you: who is going to be your favorite talker that you want to go see?
Oh man, you put me on the spot. They're all a lot of them are all my friends.
I know, but you can only pick one.
I can only pick one. Oh man, every one of the photography people I want to go see.
That's cheating. You can only pick one. Again, one person.
No, I can't do that.
You can?
You're bad. I don't know now. That's unfair.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not going to do it.
I want to see Ken O'Sullivan again because I'm astounded by what he actually can talk about and what his message and what his message to the world is. So I love listening to Ken. So
I have one for you here.
Okay.
Because this will be completely neutral. Andrew Ryan, he's not part of our diving community as such, but he's given a talk previously, and it's the revenue. And it's about,
what?
I know, yeah, isn't this interesting? You think, oh, what, the revenue is coming?
Most people run from the revenue.
Yeah, but he's giving a very interesting talk about customs and drugs
Ooh.
enforcement. Yeah. And
it's getting interesting.
He has some really, really interesting stories that are very related to the sea, diving and that sort of thing. So cool. It's a surprise and it's interesting.
Cool. I look forward to that. One more question actually I'm going to ask you. When was your first ever dive show? I bet you I've been to one before you.
I bet you're right.
Yeah. Well, what year was your first dive show?
I only started diving in 2006. So was it before that?
It was.
Yeah.
My first dive show was in 1990 in Waterford.
No way.
Yeah, as a child. Yeah.
What do you remember about it?
Playing. My father dragged me along. So, yeah. If anyone doesn't know, my father was a scuba diver since 1982. So, we got dragged around the country all the time. Up to Achill Island, over here, over there. And, used to love it.
You probably don't remember whether or not you had to pay to get in, but just to make that important point, that kids under 16 accompanied by a paying adult.
No wonder my father brought me
are in for free.
Pay for me.
Yeah, so it's a 2 days where you can just plop them in front of a speaker and go away and leave them there.
You go.
No, I'm kidding.
Free child crash.
Yeah, no, it's not that.
All right, so Mike, thank you very much for coming on the Irish Photography Podcast, and I'm going to see you in a few weeks at the dive show.
Great, man. Thanks a lot.
Hey yo.
Are you tired of running out of power at that crucial moment? Do you need to charge 2 batteries simultaneously or charge on the go while in your car? The award-winning ProCube 2 from Hainel has got you covered. Available for Canon, Nikon, Sony and Panasonic. Visit hainel.ie.
And you're very welcome back to the Irish Photography Podcast. I hope you enjoyed the first part of the podcast. That was very, very entertaining. I had such a great time chatting with Mike Ort. What did you think of that, Darren?
It was really good. I'm even more excited now than I was before. So yeah, roll on the dive show, and hopefully we'll see many people there listen to the podcast too. Because of the podcast, they decided to go to it. But no, it would be great to go and experience it. So I can't wait to be able to talk to some of those people and interview them on the podcast too.
it's going to be really good. And it's funny because Mike was saying all his, they're going, the lads from the Irish Photography Podcasts are going to be there, so you can meet and greet the guys as they're going, as if we were celebrities. And they're going, what are we going to do? Signing autographs and all that. So it's very funny, like, you know.
No thanks.
I'll give you my autograph, Darren. It's okay.
All right,
I'm getting bigger, you know. So yeah. You might give me yours as well.
All right, yeah, no bother.
What's your handwriting like?
Like a doctor. I sign my name so often over the years.
You just don't even know what it means.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Anyway, so the second half of this topic of the dive show, what we're going to do is we're going to concentrate on one of the guest speakers, and his name is Nigel Moyter. Okay, now Nigel is from Malahide in Dublin, and he is just simply a wonderful, wonderful diver. He's been diving since 1984, and he's been into underwater photography very, very shortly after that. And he's traveled the world, the length and breadth of the world, to explore the underwater world, so far as to go to, what's the name of that place in Norway? It's North Norway. It's called, oh man, Darren, do you know the way I couldn't pronounce Japanese, Chinese words?
Yeah, are you going to butcher this one?
We've ventured into Norwegian words now, okay? And there's letters in Norwegian names that shouldn't be there, right? And the Irish get a bit of a bad name for pronouncing names that they shouldn't be, like, you know, like Sive and you know, you get the idea. Or Owen, that spells Eoghan, like, you know. So this place is called, it's called Skvervoy. Yeah, okay, it's SKJERVO with that weird apostrophe going through the OY.
Is that Skervjoy? No?
That's
Skervoy.
Much probably better than I. Yes, I would say so.
I just know somewhere north anyway.
Yeah. Well, settled somewhere further north. Actually, it's a bit further north than the Lofoten Islands. So if where we were in, oh sorry, we can't talk about that, can we, Darren?
Oh no, we're not allowed to talk about the Norway trip. But go on, we'll allow it just one more time. Yeah.
So I went on this trip to a certain place in, I don't know, somewhere up north. And if you go around the coast, up around the corner, and up another couple of miles, and just venture around like a dog leg right. That's a golf acronym. You know, do you ever play golf? No.
It's I agree with the cliche phrase.
Yeah, dog leg right. Yeah, that's it. So it comes up in and around, you know. So it's just like all these fjords inside there. So he gets to photograph all these orcas and everything like that. And some of the pictures that he got from there, like he was saying that it was much harder than he thought it would be. The whales were spread out over an enormous area. So their daily boat journeys were often like 200 kilometers or more. And when they did find them, getting into the water with them was really challenging. Like he was saying that it's really, really cold. But the scenery was absolutely beautiful, and the whales were such an amazing animals to see. So, like, he's actually, after going home, and he's after downloading a serious thousands upon thousands of images. So, one kind of thing I'd like to say is, I'd be so excited to look through the images, but if you've got thousands and thousands of them, you just kind of get whale fatigue. You know, you kind of get sick of looking at them at certain times. But once you see that one or two bangers that you have, and he got one or two bangers, he's elected, you know.
Well, hang on now, right? I would kind of see in one way what you're coming from in regards to the loads of images, but if you go take photographs by the sea and seascape, you're taking photograph after photograph after photograph after photograph after photograph. And when you're reviewing them afterwards is when you see the shapes that you've captured in the water, the waves that have come in, that have complemented the scene that made it a good seascape photograph. But you have to go through lots of those to be able to get it. If you're going to wildlife, you look at the guys that are going constantly out to photograph birds. They're taking loads and loads and loads too. So when he's under the water, you can imagine how he's going to take thousands, because if you've got fish moving in a different way, one different direction, there's a feeding frenzy going on in certain photographs that I've seen, you're going to be like as quick as you can go.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
leave it rip like.
How fast could you get actually from a shutter
definitely.
speed under the water?
Exact same as above water. It depends if you're using strobes. And we'll come on to strobes because that's coming up in a while later in the show. But yeah, it depends on the recycle time of your strobe then as well. So if you're not using strobe, it's the same as on land. You know, if your focus system's good enough and and you have a high frame rate in your camera. So I think Nigel's shooting on a D850, a Nikon D850, which is a fabulous camera. One of the best DSLRs on the market
for a Nikon,
that you can get. I mean, for a Nikon, very true. But like, I would love to have that camera. I think it's just it's a beast of a thing. Heavy, but really, really good. And I'd say you'd find it hard to break it. So that camera, what's hold on a second? We need to find out the frames per second for a Nikon D850. So Nikon.
I'm going to guess 14.
D8 14. I haven't typed it in yet. No, right? I reckon 9.
Okay.
Frames per second. All right. 7.
What?
7. Yeah. That's what it says here. Despite its monumental resolution, the D850 is capable of an outstandingly fast capture rate of 7 frames per second or 9 frames per second with the optional battery grip. Yeah. So I was half right and you were half wrong. No, you're full wrong.
Man, that's unreal. 7.
Yeah. And if you've the battery grip, you've got 9. But yeah, fabulous camera. Like it's a massive resolution camera. I think it's like 46 megapixels or something like that. So great camera. So if he's shooting with those,
so if he's shooting with those right under, and he's taking, surely the light is going to be the factor in regards to how fast a shutter speed you can get. So if you're 10 meters down or 15 meters down, it's going to make a big difference, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. You're losing light the further you go down, sure, and you're losing your colors then. So, like the first color you lose is red, then orange, green, or no, not green.
Yellow, green, blue.
Like yellow, green, blue. That's it. You know, as you go down, like so, after 5 meters you start losing red. After 10 meters you start losing orange. You know, so after 10 meters, you're literally pissing in the wind unless you've got strobes to a certain degree. Unless you have no, you're still going to get a bluey image, but it suits some of the images. Like so, like if you're shooting a whale, a sperm whale, or a giant whale, like you're going to be shooting with natural light if you can, right? Because it kind of suits the scene, it suits the image. But if you have strobes, great. But the mammal is so big, and so the strobe isn't going to cover the whole area of the bloody whale anyway, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah. So yeah, I think most photographers with shooting whales, I think shoot natural light, but I stand to be corrected there.
But like even so, when you're there, right, and you're going to the areas, like some of the photographs he's taken are incredible. And when you sent me on the details of it earlier, I was like going, wow, okay. I'm not an underwater photographer, but you can see straight away there that number one, there's a fantastic element of photography because there's great lighting on some of the images that are there. You've also got the, what do you call it, an up and down or an over and under shot?
Oh, split shot.
Split shot.
Well, up, yeah.
And
I call them split shots. Anyway.
There was one photograph that I saw there, which was a crocodile. And you say about being the whale and not being close up with the strobe light. How close was he to that crocodile? And it's also lit as well underneath. And he's halfway on the screen. And you can see his eye above the water. And it's like, what the... How? Okay, you must be in a hide or something like that because you're dinner, man. And like, how? I just don't understand why the crocodile wouldn't have gone anywhere near him. You know, I mean, to put yourself in that position. I went, okay, yeah, this is an interesting photographer, man. This isn't just your ordinary underwater photographer. This is somebody who goes, I want to get a good shot, and I want to get it. And he's from Malahide.
Yeah. Now, let's backpedal a small bit on how he got this photograph and where it is, because he certainly didn't get it in Malahide.
No.
He didn't get it in Ireland. Okay, so Nigel flew over to Cuba and he did a bit of a trip over there some time ago, and he shared this picture on Instagram. Now, I've never met Nigel. I'm sure he's a lovely man, but like I've been following his work for a long, long time. And he posted this picture of this crocodile back in February, and February 2019 for that. So that would have been over a year ago. And I saw this image and it's like, holy smokes, that's unreal. So I replied on the Instagram page from the Irish Photography Podcast. I was like, is it okay to share? It's like, absolutely. And I was just like astounded by all this work that he's doing. And then at first I thought like you, yeah, he must have been in a hide, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then I started exploring a bit more. And no, he was not in a bloody hide. He's actually in the water.
Unreal.
With a load of crocodiles, not just one. So I forward you on picture message there, and there's 2 crocodiles, and there's 2 divers then in the picture with them, and they don't have no air or nothing. They're just free diving with their cameras and their strobes, and it's simply terrifying. Darren, I know everyone thinks me as a bit mad in the head, and I go above and beyond the times, but I draw the bloody line of crocodiles. No way, shape or form am I getting in the water with look at their teeth. Look at their teeth. If that goes around your leg or your arm, there you go. They're freaking dinosaurs. They're hungry things, and I don't want to be their Chinese food. You know, I just no. I'll appreciate Nigel's pictures. They're unbelievable, but no way am I getting in the water because I'm not getting it for dinner.
No thanks for that one. How about the shark? You wouldn't go near the shark either, no?
It depends on what shark.
Okay, would you go in a hammerhead?
It really does. Not a hope. They're dangerous, man.
Would you go with a bull shark?
They're one of the most. They are the most dangerous.
No, they're not. They're the third most dangerous.
I thought the bull shark was the most dangerous. No, I could be wrong.
What's the second most dangerous? Do you think?
I don't know.
Tiger shark.
Is it all right?
So what would you think
what's
the most dangerous?
It's not the great white.
It is based on the amount of attacks, I believe.
Is it?
I believe so.
All right. I'll tell you a quick story about a friend of mine
and
a great white. So he was on a holiday in South Africa, right, in Cape Town, and they're doing these boat trips, and he's not a scuba diver. He's qualified, but he doesn't do much. He does one of these PADI courses, kind of a crash course on how to scuba dive, you know?
Yeah.
And so he did a cage dive for great whites, and he's there going, yeah, feck it, I'll do it. It's unbelievable. So he's seen a sign on the boat: divers must wash their own wetsuits after every use. And he was looking at the sign going, what the fuck? What the hell? Why'd you have to wash your suit after every dive or whatever? So he got into the cage anyway, and next minute, lo and behold, he went into the water, and great whites came up, and they were up at the cage, and he said he understood why after that, because he actually physically shat himself in the wetsuit. He actually pooped himself because he just couldn't get over. Like, you see him on TV, they're big mammals, they're huge, whatever, but when you see it in real life and it's coming up close to you, even though you're in a cage, you're safe, you're protected, he started panicking. He started breathing really, really fast. He thought it was going to eat him, even though he couldn't. And he shot himself.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you know,
and he wasn't the only one.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd say it must happen a lot, because that's facing people's fears. You know, go swim with great whites, and I mean, okay, you're in a cage, but like that whole fear of great whites, doesn't that not just come from the movie Jaws? Really?
I'd never seen that film, actually. Do you know that? Never seen it.
They made 3 of them.
Yeah. Did they?
I think so. They might have made a couple more afterwards as well. I'm not quite sure, but I know they made 3. One of them was in 3D, Jaws 3D. It was a flop.
Oh, Jesus.
Probably before your time.
I'd say so. Do you see Megalodon? Do you see that one? The new one with Jason Statham?
No.
It was cheesy, but I enjoyed it.
Anyhow, back to the thing at point at hand here, right? So from an underwater point of view, I think there's phenomenal skill, as you know, needed in regards to take a photograph, and then to be in an area like that amongst those animals and to stay calm. But then you see about, you know, you mentioned about to go photograph the orcas. 200 kilometers on a boat?
Yeah. It's far distance between each kind of area where you dive. And like, you're not guaranteed your photographs then either. You got to get in the water, and the orcas mightn't be up to, okay, we don't want to hang out with this guy, and they just kind of swim away, you know. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he has captured over there, because I haven't seen too much. I've only seen a few bits and bobs. I think he's teasing us online.
But do you know what?
And I think he's going to have...
I think, right?
Yeah.
if you were to go on a trip like that, you'd have to go and spend around 2 months with John Moyter before you go there, because you'd need to understand patience and to be calm when something would happen, which I don't think you'd be able to do, because you'd be going for 200 kilometers going, are they there yet? Are they there yet? Where are they? Hang on, they saw a fin. Okay, can't believe it. They saw a fin. And then all of a sudden you go, okay, we're suiting up. We're going to get in. Bang, I got to get it right, because you'd be so excited. Whereas he's just like, okay, you have to be calm.
Zen.
You know?
I am a very calm person.
I know you're a very calm person, but you get very excited too.
No, I don't.
Drink some more Monster there, will you?
Yeah, I'm actually gasping. But no, I would love to do that trip. I really would. They were like when they were up there doing that trip, he was with Nick, I think, for that trip, and I was in Norway at the same time. So like Nick was asking me, he's like, do you fancy coming north? You know, coming up to meet up for a bit? I would have loved it, but I was only in Lofoten for like 4 or 5 days, so I couldn't make the trip up either, you know. But it's on the cards. It's definitely one for the future.
So the image there that you showed me as well of the orcas jumping out of the water, is that one that was taken at the same time you were there?
On that trip. Yeah.
Okay, so hopefully then, as you say, he's teasing online so that when it goes to the show, he's going to reveal a lot more about how that happened, what they did to get there, the whole story behind it, because that's an incredible trip.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to it, genuinely. And we'll talk about one more image from him now, because there's a picture that I sent you also with Fungi the dolphin. And if you've been like Thomas Eaton, if you've been living under a rock, get out from underneath, because Fungi is more famous than Thomas Eaton and every other landscape photographer or any other photographer in the world. Fungi is the most famous dolphin in the world. He's lived in Kerry, that's where he's from, isn't it? Dingle. I got a brain fart there for a second. Wow. You know, he's been there for God knows how long, you know. So, I got to see him as a child. Are you making fun of me, Spoonie?
Of course I am, yeah. Where is he? Dingle. What's your way out of that? He's the most famous dolphin in the world and you don't know where he's from.
I just got a brain fart. Yeah, but
go on, anyway, back to the photograph of Fungi.
Yeah, but
where was it taken? Lovely photograph.
Just up in the lobster pot in Ballyvaughan. But that picture that I sent you is actually Nigel himself diving with Fungi, and it was a picture taken by Brian Skerry, and like he was working on a shoot for the National Geographic, you know. So he's in very, very good company in what he does and who he keeps around him all the time. So Nigel, he's a great photographer, and I can't wait to hear him talk about his journey as a photographer since 1984.
Yeah, brilliant, yeah. And we'll get to meet him as well at the show. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. All right, so guys, that's it for this part of the show about Nigel, and we're going to be right back in 2 minutes, and we're going to be bringing back the VSP. Today's episode is sponsored by BG Landscape Tours. Bernard leads photo tours and workshops north as far as Lofoten Islands, Senja, Faroe Islands, Iceland to Scotland, and as far south to the Italian Dolomites, Tenerife, Namibia and Botswana, and not forgetting our own beautiful homeland of Ireland. Find out more at www.bglandscapetours.ie. And you're very welcome back to the Irish Photography Podcast, and we're on to our last part of the Dive Show special. So we're going to talk about my aspirations and my thoughts on the CFT Vincent O'Brien Memorial Photography Competition. And there's a few aspects to this competition. So what they actually have is they have a portfolio panel for an advanced and non-advanced photographers. And also they have, bear with me, a macro section. They have a wide angle section, split shot section, and foreign water image section. And they have 2 other video awards. So there's one going for a foreign video and one for an Irish video. So I think I have entered all of it in every way, shape and form. I have something in, there's one then for conservation. So what mankind has done to help conservation or being a detriment to it, you know. So it's to highlight the fact of what we're doing in Irish waters.
Brilliant.
I didn't enter that because I had nothing to enter into it. I actually kind of tried to cheat, and I put in an image of a load of waves hitting the rocks and, oh, look, sea erosion. So yeah, I even got back to me, Diarmuid, I don't think you read the brief properly. I was like, yeah, there's a chance in my arm.
So hang on, you got this contest coming up. You've got an entry in all of the sections.
Yeah, at least one entry in all of them, bar the conservation.
Okay, and you sent me a looks at the images that you've sent through. You've got a panel of images.
Yeah, so on my portfolio panel, that's the one that I kind of covet. That's the one I'd like to push to kind of win, because I won the non-advanced last year, and so I guess automatically bumped up to the advanced section, and that's the one that I was kind of pushing for. Now, I'd be lying if I said I had a solid year scuba diving wise. I didn't get as many dives as I wish. So my panel should be stronger if I was diving a bit more, but unfortunately I wasn't. But look, it is what it is. And I put in the strongest possible panel that I could. So like I have my shot of a jellyfish. I have a shot of a diver in a cave. I actually have a selfie of myself, but I free flowed my regulator. So my whole face bar one eye is visible, but it's a really cool image.
It's
so
a brilliant
you get all
shot.
Air bubbles. And then I have a shot of a blenny, which is a fish, and then we have a scorpion fish. And it's funny about that scorpion fish, right? Because that's the fish that I withheld from one of my vlogs. If you watched the Osmo Pocket review video where I went diving with Mike, and
yes.
I was like, and I said at the start of the video, we're looking for a scorpion fish, is what I said. And they're my favorite to photograph. I think they're lovely. And lo and behold, we found a scorpion fish, and the picture came out top trumps, and it was awesome. So I didn't put it in the vlog for that reason, is to enter in the competition. And lo and behold, the competition is here. So we're going to see if this fish gets me over the hump, you know. And I've one other image then of a nudie branch, a pancake nudie branch is what I call him. So he looks really cute and stuff like that.
Question for you. So it was the non-advanced last year.
Yeah.
And now this year you're automatically bumped up to the advanced.
Yeah.
Where's the normal level? Like, if you're not advanced, you pass up. You're good. Like, and then you move to advanced.
Yeah, I've no idea. There's only two sections, darn.
Don't
be making a mockery of this.
For good, you just got to go advanced.
Advanced. You know, so Joe Fitzgibbon was in the non-advanced last year as well, and he got bumped up as well. Like, he's a very good photographer. And if I'd be lying, my money is actually on Joe Fitzgibbon to win the portfolio panel, because I've seen some of the images on the Facebook page already, and his panel is exquisite. It is really, really good. So if Joe wins, I should actually go to the bookies. Imagine if we could get odds in this. Would we? No, we wouldn't. Paddy Power would be like, who the hell is what? What? Yeah.
The what show?
You know, but yeah, I think Joe Fitzgibbon, my money is on him to win it, you know, but that is the one award that I would like to go for. And if I don't win it this year, that's fine. It's no problem. Just entering the competition and the experience of it I love it. I think it's great. And I think if you ever are hesitant to enter any competition, I discourage you, just enter it. You can't win if you're not in, simply. That's the laws of physics, you know. So get into the competition, submit your images, and put yourself out there, because that's the only way you're going to get better.
Well, look, looking at your images, Dad, I think they're class set of images. And you mentioned about, the free flow. That was quality. The diver in the cave, I was looking at it going, nah, that's not his shot, man. That's something like off National Geographic. And I was like, oh, hang on a second. It is, because it's exquisite.
Thank you.
And as you say, in regards to the fish, and I was wondering what that last one was, and that's the nudie branch, and that's the one the size of your thumbnail. So you got to get
fingernail, baby fingernail. That thing is tiny.
Yeah, it's class. It's class. Best of luck in the contest, man. I think.
Thank you.
We'll be there. Will we be there on the day that you're going to be crowned the winner?
I hope so. At 5 p.m. is when the awards are on. So yeah, we'll venture down to the photography room, you and I. And we'll see what happens. And,
absolutely. Best of luck in anyway,
yeah. I'd be delighted with anything, genuinely, But yeah, I want the portfolio panel. That's the one I want. Yeah. So, right, let's move on to, we actually have a VSP this week, guys. And the VSP, believe it or not, is underwater photography related.
Go away.
So, yes, it actually is. So what it is, it's called the Inon Z-240 Underwater Strobe.
Okay.
So this is just like you have above water. You have your Canon flashes, your speed lights or whatever. And this is basically one of those that goes underwater and enables you to use flash photography underwater, which is my biggest learning curve since I started photography. It didn't take me long to not master it, but understand it above water and use it to my advantage to a nice degree. But since I got into underwater, it's baffled me more and more and more on how to use it intelligently and properly. But this thing is going to totally change your photography, especially if you're like, it is expensive to get into underwater photography. Anything to do with underwater is expensive, but a lot of underwater photographers will use natural light or torches to light their subject matter, because flashes are so expensive for underwater. But if you just get one of these things, you're sorted. Like the Z-240, it's Inon's flagship model light, right? It's for professionals with demanding high performance lighting with modern digital camera systems, and you could use them for film cameras also if that's in your niche. So the Z-240 provides a high performance and innovative features with a versatile package in about 1/2 the size of conventional strobes. So they're not too big, they're nice petite size, and you can stick them onto your arms and they can fire via fiber optic cables, or you can use your dual 5-pin cables also. And they're actually quite light, so you're sorted, you know.
Tell me this. So you're using a flash under the water.
Yeah.
I imagine it's very similar to using a flash in the fog.
You know what? No, you're actually not too far off. Because the fog will drastically reduce the throw of your light. Mm-hmm. It's going to absorb it all up. So the water does the exact same thing, especially murky water. Mm-hmm. The distance of the light is not going to like the guide number for these strobes underwater is like 13 only. Do you know that like a strobe above water we're going to get 60 meters. Sorry, I should have said meters. Sorry.
Right, okay.
Meters. 30 meters above water, you're going to get a Yongnuo or a Canon 600 EXRT. You're going to get 60 meters. So you're only getting like, less than a fifth of what you're getting above land.
Or a Hainel flash, don't forget.
The Modus 360s, yeah, unbelievable flash, fantastic stuff. You know, so like, you're right. Flash with fog underwater, it's quite similar, but it's just a total different ball game on the density of water and how you use it underwater.
So a flash is better underwater than a continuous light, or is a continuous light better than a flash underwater? Or does it depend on the murkiness of the water, or does it depend on what you're photographing within the water?
We could talk about a full podcast about this, and I'm not trying to throw you off or whatever like that. If you're shooting macro, you're going to want to be using strobes, or even not, or continuous light. It doesn't really matter as long as your subject matter can be lit properly. It all depends on depth, how deep you go, because the deeper you go, the less light you're going to get. And with your strobes, then you're introducing color. So that's what you're doing. You're kind of trying to throw light and color into the scene to make it that more appealing to your viewers.
So you're sending a full spectrum of light across the strobe or the continuous light, because, as you said earlier, the deeper you go, you start losing the colors, particularly in the same color as the rainbow, yeah? Because it's coming down into the water. So then you're introducing the strobe. So does that mean then with this VSP, it's so good because it gives such a natural flash, and that it allows you to be able to light your subject without having to mess around too much compared to others? Or is it just the actual idea?
It's just getting the flash under the water. Like, there's not going to be too much of the difference between the Inon and the Icolite strobes or CNC strobes. They're all flashes at the end of the day. But it's the compact size and and the performance of the flash that's going to make it better than some other lights, you know. Now, excuse me, I've never used a night light strobe. This is the only strobe that I've ever used, and I've got this because my peers have told me to go get this.
Yes.
They all have them, and there's different ones. There's the type 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the type 4 is the most recent one and the most expensive one. And there's actually, it's been succeeded already because they're after bringing out a Z-330 now, which is slightly more expensive, just has a bit more power as far as I'm aware of. The price of this, Darren, is going to kill you just for one of them. Put down your drink there before you spit it out when I tell you the price of this thing. So it is £600 sterling for one of them.
Yeah, but you know, okay, that is very, very expensive. But at the same point, it's photography and it's underwater. So it's after ticking 2 boxes there on the price index scale of expensive.
Yeah. But then I wasn't happy with 1. I wanted 2.
Of course.
So you got to double that up, right? So that's £1,200 sterling. And then not only that, you need a cable to fire these off.
Here we go. It's another thing again now with a cable. Go on. Much is this cable?
Yeah, so
$3,000.
So you have to buy the cable, $3,000. So then you're going to need the cable to fire these off. So I actually bought my cable secondhand. I got it delivered to my door on the Underwater Photography Facebook page. I got it for €180 delivered to my door for that cable just to fire the flash.
Secondhand fiber optic?
No, not fiber optic, dual cable. It's the 5-pin connector.
All right, how much is the fiber optic one?
Fiber optic ones are actually cheaper. My new housing I got.
I suppose they could break easier though, the fiber optic one.
Yeah, they're a lot thinner. They're not as robust as the 5-pin connector one. Now, the fiber optic ones were €70 each when I bought them there a few weeks back, so €140 for the 2 of them.
Don't be long adding up by this VSP is how much is the VSP going to be tonight? Most expensive VSP ever.
You could get 1 to start you off and then just get 1 fiber optic cable, and every teacher of photography in Flash is get 1 and work your way up from that. And you know,
how many is the max that you can have?
The max, you can have whatever you want to, Darren.
How many lumens do you get off that now?
Okay, so what you're going to get, right? The dimensions of it is 64 by 83 by 106, and they're probably centimeters. The recycle time at full power is 1.5 seconds, so it's fast enough for a full power flash. You know, there's 12 manual power settings, and the color temperature at full power is 5,500 Kelvin. So if you're shooting with your white balance, you want to dial it in, get it really correct. That's your Kelvin that you're shooting with. It's 100 degrees coverage. Coverage width, you can put on diffusers as well, and you can change the color temperature with these diffusers. So if you wanted more of a golden color, you use those ones.
Right.
Cooler color, use them. You get the idea. And the circumference will change to 110 degrees distance of the beam. The guide number in the water, like I said, is 13 meters, and the strobe is rated to 100 meters. So do not go below 100 meters. I don't go past 35 is the deepest I've ever been, so that doesn't really matter to me. They also come with focus lights on them already, but they're only 180 lumens on the lights. So they're not very strong, but they're more of a focused light, just so you can nail your focus on your subject matter, and they turn off themselves automatically the second you press the shutter and the strobes flash, so they're not interfering with your image in any way, shape.
So hang on a second. So there's a secondary light now with this, which is
yes,
and is that continuous light?
Continuous light,
okay,
yeah.
So that's
180
okay.
lumens.
Hang on a sec. So it's worth the $600 so because it gives you continuous low light. Because that's what I was wondering was the next statement is that you have to have another light to be able to light up what you want to be able to see, whereas you have that now built into it. Sure, it's a steal. It's $600, man.
It's there you go. And now you're getting places.
So yeah, I mean, of course, it's so cheap. You got to get 2.
And you can change the color of the light, which I thought was brilliant because there's this kind of little circular screw that you screw onto the front of it, and you can change the light from normal kind of white light to a red light. So if you're photographing a conger eel, right, they don't like bright light. So if you change it to this kind of red soft light, you can still get your focus on the fish or the eel when it comes out, and it's not going to take your hand off then as well. So it's going to come out bit by bit by bit, and it's not going to jump back into its little cave. So, yeah.
As George Hook would say, back up the truck. What do you mean, come out and take your hand off?
Oh, Genie Mac. And it's funny you say that, because myself and Mike were photographing this conger eel before, and we were just waiting for him to come out, and we were kind of, we were on his terms, and he was over to the left and I was to the right, and I was trying to photograph it. Next minute he came out, and Mike, I think he took his eyes off the ball. The conger eel actually went for Mike, his finger and the camera. Yeah. And their teeth kind of go backwards, as in a serrated knife. So if they do grab onto you, the worst thing you can do is pull back, because then it rips it even more. So you're better off just leaving your hand in his mouth. Yeah, but he won't like to taste you, so he'll spit you out.
Yeah, but he's going to pull.
That's what I've been told.
He's going to pull you back, like, so you have to go with him into the tiny hole in the rock.
Yeah, but just leave him off. He's grand. He's a nice guy, you know what I mean?
Come here, well, I'm really excited to learn more about the underwater world now, because of this conversation tonight. And, you know, even with that, from a photography point of view as well. I mean, look, so yeah, you know, like, who hasn't watched a program where you're looking at something under the earth or under the water, like Planet Earth or, you know, National Geographic, or I remember Jacques Cousteau from the diving point of view. And I remember watching those, and then I was seeing all these guys, and, you know, you got Shark Week now that's on Discovery, and people look at the underwater and go, geez, that's amazing. But when you think about how much of the ocean has actually been explored, it's quite a small amount. There's so much more unexplored. And like you say there, okay, you've gone down to 35 meters and this thing is used to 100 meters. Any lower than 100 meters, you have to go into some sort of submersible, I imagine, to be able to look around safely for a long period of time. But like, you look at guys that work on the oil rigs, and they got to go out and they got to fix that in severe conditions and go down. The ocean is somewhere that is more volatile than what's above.
Yeah,
and it's
so unforgiving,
and it's so crazy, because we are not supposed to be there. It's not for us. We've been given lungs to breathe air, but that's what makes it more fascinating and more exciting, because you want to go see this and you want to go explore it. So I think everybody has kind of grown up watching stuff on TV about underwater, but now, since we've been talking about it this evening, I'm even more excited to be able to go and talk to people at the show, because underwater, man, it's a whole different world. It's a whole different type of photography. Filming underwater. I remember we spoke to Duxie, and Duxie was talking about in the Red Sea, and I said, you know, did you ever get the thing when you go into the middle of the fish and all of a sudden they're going around you? It's like, yeah. Like, as if, sure, I got a pint of milk last week. Like, that to me would be, oh my God, man. But like, that's the thing. You know, people go to this great white experience, you know, and they do shit themselves because they're so scared in regards to putting themselves in a position, because you go, what have I got to lose? I'm going to go swim with great whites, because they've watched it so many years. But then when you're to go with a camera underneath that to be able to film it, I wouldn't certainly be putting my hand outside going, hang on there a second, get a different bit of angle there for the B-roll. Like,
no thanks. Hell no.
So
man.
These guys that film this underwater are incredible.
Yeah. I mean, my hat goes off to these guys, like, and even Nigel with the crocodiles and everything. It's just phenomenal. And a lot of people ask me, why do I do it? Why do I scuba dive? And I always say the exact same thing every time. I was like, this is going to sound like a cliche, but it's a whole different world down there. And no one can ring me. I don't get notifications on Facebook. I don't get notifications on Instagram when I'm under that water. And when I'm under that water for that dive for an hour or so, whatever, I'm free and no one can bother me. And I don't think about what I have to do tomorrow. I don't think about what happened to me yesterday in a bad way, in any way, shape or form. It's just me and the world of the ocean. And it's just, this sounds so cheesy. It sets me free. It really does.
But no, I can see it, and you're dead right. Forget about the cheesiness of it, you know. Everybody has something that they should do to enjoy, to give them a release from reality. And you get that opportunity. You say it's important. We've discussed it before, and I've said it in a video about peace and quiet. Nobody's going to disturb you down there, because okay, there's no signal, but who would you want somebody in your ear going, did you get that there? Is that time, is that going to be dropped over at? You want to concentrate on what you're doing, because you and your buddy, you're looking out for each other. You're not responsible for you. You're responsible for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, you know, that's the key point, I think, is because you're not thinking just about you at that point. You're thinking about the other person that you're with. But moreover, you're looking what's in front of you and you're going, oh, man, look at this. Like, I have so many questions. I hope I get them answered at the show, you know. You said about the congreels, like they don't like the white light, the bright lights that come up with your red light. But you're looking at the nudie branches in the example, and you got to get pretty close to that. What happens if you scare it? Then bump, it's gone.
They barely move. They move like a slug, like about
all right, okay,
2 centimeters in an hour.
All right, okay.
You know, but trying to find them is the most impossible thing ever. Well, it's not impossible because I found them on my own, but that's why I stick to Mike like glue, like, because the guy's a bloody genius underwater when it comes to the photographic sense. Like he simply just finds all the best things. So like all my photographs, you can almost credit fucking Mike for them, you know. He almost found nearly all of them for me. Fair play to him. Like, he's probably the best dive buddy you could actually ever have. Like,
and you know,
and more than that, he's one of my best.
Yeah, and he's one of your best friends. And the reason why is because he's the president of the NBA.
The president of what?
The NBA.
He's the president?
Yeah.
Is Adam Silver?
No, it's Nudie Branch Association.
Oh, for feck's sake. I was there going, what the hell? Where's this going? Yeah. But yeah, like, you know, Mike is a very, very good, dear friend to me, like, you know, and he's basically taught me how to scuba dive along with my father, you know, and just, it's great to have that kind of support, that type of person there for me all the time. And, you know, he always answers my questions as good as he can, and he'll take the mick out of me, something awful as well, you know. He doesn't give it to me easy, so, but that's the way you want it, really. You know, he makes you learn things for yourself also, so. Yeah, it'll be good. I'm looking forward to the show. I'm looking forward to meeting Mike. I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of the speakers as well. I think it's going to be a great day out. It will be. We'll leave it on that note. So, Darren, thank you very much for listening to the podcast. To all our listeners, well, you have to.
I was only listening.
I just thanked you for listening. Sorry,
Darren had no.
I'm having loads of brain farts tonight.
To be talking about the live show.
Thanks, Darren, for listening tonight. I'm just saying thanks for coming on, and you know, the podcast is getting stronger and stronger, and it's because of all our hard work, basically, you know. And look, if any of our listeners would like to further their experience, why don't you jump onto our Facebook group and just name a host of the podcast. You can either say Diarmuid or Darren, and tell us a small bit about your style of photography. And also, we have an Instagram page, which is Darren Mans, and he'll look after it, and he shares people's pictures and engage themselves with all our listeners on there also. And if you get a chance, please jump onto iTunes, give us 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. It really means a lot to us. Darren, thanks very much, buddy, and yeah, we'll talk to you soon, all right?
Before we go, actually, one quick thing. We got to number 8 in the UK charts last week for Mr. Thomas Eaton.
Did we?
Yeah.
Wow. Brilliant. Bula bus to us.
Yeah, listen, he was a good guest. I'm looking forward to meeting more people as well now at the dive show. Thanks for a good topic this evening. And yeah, from Cork to HQ in Limerick, Stronger Phone.
Heyo.
Hey guys, if you dig what you're hearing, why don't you jump over to iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating and don't forget to share with your friends. With all that done, we'll see you next week. And remember, keep shooting.